Welcome to the Fucked Up Guides Fucked Up podcast, where we tackle a series of real life topics with humor, honesty, a sprinkle of fucks, and a shit ton of metaphors. I'm your host, and today we're unpacking a topic that's as essential as it is complicated: respect. So strap in, bitches, because we're about to unpack RESPECT. But before we dive in, I advise you that we are not medical professionals by any stretch of the imagination. And if you feel that you need medical attention, please seek a medical professional. We have learned and continue to learn from the school of life. And we are here to articulate the things that we have learned in this life, meaning the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. We're here to entertain, we're here to motivate you guys, and to get you to think a little bit. And now that we've got all of that shit out of the way, let's get this going. On our last episode, we wrapped up the topic of boundaries by talking about how boundaries may affect those relationships close to you. We recapped with the following. Effective communication is critical to all relationships that impact your life. Acceptance and perspective are equal to respect and empathy. Clarity and flexibility are required when navigating boundaries and relationships in the workplace. Multifaceted communication is critical in romantic relationships. Now, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, respect is the feeling of admiring someone or something that is good, valuable, indifferent, etc. It also involves treating someone or something with care and consideration, acknowledging their worth and dignity. Respect encompasses aspects of admiration, honor, and regard for others' feelings, beliefs, and rights. It involves recognizing and appreciating diversity, listening attentively, and valuing different perspectives. Respect is not just a passive sentiment, my friends, but it is often demonstrated through action, such as speaking kindly, showing empathy, and being mindful of boundaries. In essence, respect forms the foundation of healthy relationships, fostering cooperation and trust, and mutual understanding amongst individuals and communities. It's the foundation of everything, guys. Self-respect is the cornerstone of personal well-being and healthy relationships. You assert that loving and valuing oneself is not a luxury, but a necessity, highlighting the crucial role it plays on how others perceive and treat us. Self-respect, as discussed, is about establishing boundaries that define what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, therefore safeguarding one's mental and emotional health. So who remembers our introspective questions? No one does, because you guys are live and I've been doing this by myself. Our introspection questions, there's 6 very introspection questions when we're talking about building boundaries for ourselves. What am I comfortable with? What am I not comfortable with? What will I tolerate? What will I not tolerate? How much energy and effort am I willing to give to others? And how much energy and effort do I need to keep for myself? Self-respect is a profound acknowledgement and celebration of one's intrinsic value, Jesus, as a human being. I need to hydrate. So we're going to hydrate here. Good morning. I'm seeing so many people joining. I hope you guys stick around. It encompasses a deep understanding of one's worthiness, talents, and capabilities, which forms the basis of how individuals interact with the world around them. Central to self-respect is the unwavering commitment to not tolerate any form of mistreatment or disrespect from others. This includes setting clear boundaries that reflect your personal values, your beliefs, and principles, ensuring one's dignity and well-being to remain intact in all interactions and relationships. We're not letting people fuck with us. That's really the bottom line. We're not allowing people to fuck with us. Furthermore, self-respect extends beyond the interpersonal dynamics into various aspects of our lives, such as career aspirations, relationships, and personal development. It emphasizes the importance of not settling for anything less than what one genuinely deserves. And my friends, if no one's told you this morning, you fucking matter. Therefore, don't fucking settle for less. This means actively pursuing opportunities that align with one's passions, one's goals and aspirations, and the sake of convenience. And not compromising on these aspirations for the sake of convenience or external pressures. By prioritizing self respect in all areas of life, individuals cultivate a sense of empowerment, authenticity, and fulfillment, contributing to a more meaningful and purpose driven existence in this lifetime. But here's where it gets interesting. The concept of mutual respect. Isn't that a fucking novel concept? It's like a dance. You respect others, they respect you back. Isn't that fucking amazing? How fucking simplistic is this? It sounds simple, but it's super delicate. You respect others, and they will respect you back. At least that's the intention, right? Mutual respect means listening, understanding, and valuing diverse perspectives. It's about building bridges, not walls. And you'll hear this, I mean, and you've heard me say this in a couple of these episodes, especially around boundaries. We're not building walls around us, we're building guardrails. We are building the line in the sand that separates me from everyone else. Mutual respect is another cornerstone. Mutual respect is the cornerstone of healthy and harmonious relationships, whether they are personal, professional, or communal. It involves recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of others, valuing their perspectives, and treating them with fairness, kindness, and consideration. In a context of mutual respect, individuals engage in open and honest communication. Here we go again. Like I said in the last episode, in the previous episodes, effective communication is everything. Individuals engage in open and honest communication, active listening to each other's viewpoints, and seeking to understand before being understood. This creates a foundation of trust, cooperation, and mutual understanding, fostering an environment where everyone feels heard, valued, and appreciated. Moreover, mutual respect transcends differences in backgrounds, beliefs, and opinions, promoting inclusivity and diversity. It involves embracing and celebrating the uniqueness of each individual while also recognizing the common humanity that binds us together because, baby, we are all the same. In settings characterized by mutual respect, conflicts are approached constructively with a focus on finding solutions that uphold everyone's rights and well-being. This collaborative approach not only strengthens relationships, but it also contributes to a more peaceful and inclusive society where everyone can thrive and contribute their fullest potential. Now that I got all of the flowery shit out of the way, now let's talk about society's fucked up view on respect. In discussing society's fucked up view or fucked up perspective, rather, in discussing that, it's crucial to challenge the common notion that respect is something that must be earned. This belief often leads to hierarchy, and we see that a lot in our society, especially when we're talking about generations and we're talking about our societal norms as well as our generational cycles, and as well as our cultures, right? There's that hierarchy in a transactional dynamic where individuals feel entitled to respect only after meeting certain criteria or demonstrating a specific accomplishment. However, this approach completely glazes over the fundamental principle that respect should be a default attitude rooted in the recognition of each other's inherent humanity and dignity. And I think I'm going to repeat that shit again. This approach, the approach that we've been taught, that you've been taught, that we've all been taught growing up, and this is a cycle that goes on generation to generation, it overlooks the fundamental principle that respect should be a default attitude rooted in the recognition that because I exist and I am human and I am a dignified human being on this planet, that should be I should have respect alone. There should be enough respect. You are a dignifying human in this world. You deserve respect, and that should be already a default inherently within us. Respect at its core is about acknowledging the worth and value of every individual simply by virtue of their existence. Because you exist in this world, I respect you. I respect you for the person that you are. I may not know you. I may not know shit about you. I don't give a shit what your past was. But you have entered into my world. I've acknowledged you. I respect you. That is the mindset that we should be looking at, folks. Because here is the thing. Respect at its core, again, is acknowledging the worth and value of every individual simply by virtue of their existence. It goes beyond external markers such as status, wealth, or power, and delves into the realm of basic human decency and empathy. I respect you for who you are, not for what you are. By embracing respect as a default stance, this can actually help us foster environments where mutual understanding, mutual compassion, and inclusivity thrive. This shift in perspective encourages people to treat our others with kindness, fairness, and consideration, regardless of their social standing and achievements. Furthermore, redefining respect as a default rather than an earned privilege promotes a culture of equity and justice. It challenges discriminatory practices that perpetuate inequality based on race, gender, or socioeconomic status. In toxic situations or in dysfunctional families, as an example, usually parents, elders within the family, I don't want to call out titles, but elders within the family, especially in different cultures, it is by default respect, but it becomes a entitlement. So there's that fine line between having the default respect within your family, and then there's that sense of entitlement because they just are. And that is something that we need to take a look at within our families, within ourselves. And when respect it becomes that norm rather than the exception, which should be the norm as a default, it paves the way for a more compassionate, empathetic society where everyone's voices are heard, they're valued and respected. Now let's fucking talk about disrespect. Disrespect is indeed a corrosive force that can infiltrate and just fuck up the fabric of our interactions and our relationships. When individuals engage in this disrespectful, fucked up behavior towards one another, it not only diminishes the dignity and worth of the person being disrespected, but it also reflects negatively on the perpetrator. This toxic behavior can manifest in various forms, such as belittling, demeaning remarks, dismissive attitudes, disregard for boundaries, the ongoing notion of boundary violations. Each act of disrespect chips away at the foundation of mutual trust and understanding, creates those rifts and tensions that hinder meaningful connections. And we have this in our society right now. We see it on social media. You see it on TikTok. We see it everywhere. It's a pervasive nature of disrespect that underscores the urgency of cultivating culture of kindness. This involves consciously choosing to prioritize empathy, compassion, and consideration over anything, especially in our interactions with others. By valuing and honoring the humanity of everyone, we contribute to building a more inclusive and harmonious society where everybody feels seen, valued, and heard. It also entails taking responsibility for our own words and our own actions and being accountable for that, recognizing the impact that they can have on others' well being and self esteem. Guys, words fucking matter. Words matter. So, embracing respect and kindness as a guiding principle requires a collective effort to challenge and dismantle harmful behaviors and attitudes. And that's what we're trying to hear. That's what we're trying to do here. The fucked up guide is just sending the message out: love yourself and respect others. But most importantly, if you can't love yourself, and this is going, of course, now I'm quoting RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, you're not going to be able to love anyone else. But it really is, it comes down to acts of love. So this involves promoting awareness, being accountable, and having that feeling that accountability to foster a culture that upholds the dignity and rights of all individuals. Now, this may sound like, again, like we're doing something large. No, my friends, fucking baby steps. Start in your own house. Start within your own self. As you're setting those boundaries, you are building respect for yourself. You are prioritizing your self-care. The more you're kind to yourself, it becomes an organic thing. You want to be kinder to others. But it starts with yourself first. And by rejecting and actively rejecting self-disrespect and embracing positive relationships, it will foster mutual growth and contribute to a more compassionate, and I know I'm going to sound a little hippie-ish, equitable world. The idea is that we're looking to make the world a better place, but by making the world a better place, your job, my job is to make sure that we're good. We're good first, and our families are good. And the more we instill that, the more we can give to others. And it becomes a pay it forward. And it becomes a domino effect. And it gets contagious. So, navigating the complex terrain of respect and disrespect begins, you heard it now, folks, a deep sense of self-awareness. My friends, it starts with the I am. It starts with the self. It's essential to engage in introspection, people, and self-respect to examine how we perceive and practice respect in our lives. Our one critical aspect is evaluating how we treat ourselves. Do you love yourself? What are your introspection questions? Are we honoring our own boundaries? So let's go back to our intro. It always goes back to the introspection questions, guys. What am I comfortable with? What am I not comfortable with? What am I willing to tolerate? What I won't tolerate? How much energy and effort am I willing to give to others? And finally, how much energy and effort do I need for myself? Self-reflection to examine how we perceive and practice respect in our lives. How do we treat ourselves? Self-respect forms the foundation upon which all other forms of respect are built. If you don't respect yourself, you can't fucking respect anyone else. If you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. If you don't build the boundaries for yourself, you're not going to respect anyone else's boundaries. You see how this works? You have to look internally in order to be able to interact externally. Simultaneously, how we interact with and treat others is equally important, and we have to assess that. Are we extending the same level of consideration, kindness, and empathy to others that we desire for ourselves? Are you treating others the way you want to be treated? Are you speaking to others the way you want to be spoken to? Those are all things that you need to consider before you start thinking about conflict or issues. Dude, it's all about respecting yourself. How do you treat yourself? How do you talk to yourself? And the way you talk to yourself is the way you're going to talk to others. That introspective inquiry encourages us to recognize the interconnectedness of respect, because it's not just about how we treat others, but also about how we engage and uplift those around us. So again, I'm quoting people here, but Mr. Rogers tells you, when you look for the helpers, and I'm paraphrasing, right? If you can't find the helpers, then perhaps you're the helper. It prompts us to be mindful. And what I say, words matter, attitudes matter, actions matter. You need to be mindful of your words, your actions, your attitudes, ensuring alignment with the principles of respect, inclusivity, and compassion. Ultimately, cultivating a culture of respect requires, again, self awareness and commitment to personal growth. It involves continuous learning, unlearning harmful behaviors, because we can, just like we were programmed with traumas and we were programmed with bad habits, we can unlearn that as well. We can unlearn those unhealthy coping mechanisms that we developed as children. We can mitigate all of that. And this involves unlearning behaviors and biases and striving to embody values that promote dignity, equality, and understanding. Because, honey, we're all the same. We are all the same. And by fostering a mindset of introspection and accountability, we can navigate the complexities of respect and disrespect more consciously, fostering healthy relationships and contributing positively to a broader societal fabric. It also allows us to temper and practice temperance when it comes to how we react, how much energy we're planning on exuding on this, and how much effort we're willing to give. Remember, energy is everything. You and I are energy. So, how do we challenge and reshape these societal norms surrounding respect? The first thing we have to do is dismantle. Dismantle the notion that respect should be earned instead of redefining it as a fundamental right, that it's freely given to all. Let's reject the idea of respect as a scarce resource that has to be hoarded, but rather as an abundant, renewable energy, a current, if you will, that flows through our interactions, enriching our connection with one another and actually exuding positive energy out to one another. And we can't shy away from calling out fucking disrespect wherever and whenever we encounter it. By holding ourselves and others accountable for our words and our actions, we pave that way for a culture that prioritizes empathy, respect, and the inclusivity. And let's strive to create our little worlds. Let's start with us first. Let's start with our little worlds first. And let's strive where every voice is valued, every perspective is heard, and every individual feels respected and affirmed in this fucking world, in this fuckery that we called life. It's time to say fuck that shit to toxic behaviors and attitudes that undermine our core of respect and embrace a collective commitment to building a more compassionate and respectful society for all. So, that was a lot. Let's recap. Respect is the foundation of everything. That's first and foremost. Self-respect, as is discussed, is about establishing boundaries that define what's acceptable, what is not, therefore safeguarding one's mental and emotional health. Again, I'm going to repeat this shit every goddamn time. Our introspection questions. What am I comfortable with? What am I not comfortable with? What am I willing to tolerate? What I won't tolerate? How much energy and effort am I willing to give to others? And finally, how much energy and effort do I need for myself? Mutual respect is the cornerstone of healthy and harmonious relationships in whatever they are, whether it's personal, communal, romantic, or professional, or familial. Redefining respect as a default rather than earned promotes a culture of equity. We all have an inherent right to be respected. Because remember, you are in control. You must set the example of how you want to be treated. And don't ever fucking settle for less. This journey we are all on is not about being selfish. It's about being self-aware and practicing self-love. Because my friends, you are fucking enough. You fucking matter. And you're fucking worth it. That's all for today's episode of the Fucked Up Guides Fucked Up podcast. Join us next time when we attack the topic of respect in relationships. Holy shit, that should be good. Always with humor, honesty, a sprinkle of fucks, and a shit ton of metaphors. If you enjoyed this content, follow us at the Fucked Up Guide on TikTok, on Instagram, or you can listen to us on the Fucked Up Podcast. Take your fucking pick. Spotify, Apple Podcast, Patreon, iHeartRadio, Pandora. No, I'm not getting paid for any of these sponsors. It just so happens these are the platforms the Fucked Up Guides Fucked Up podcast is on. Take your pick and definitely listen in and follow. Until then, take care of yourselves and keep respecting yourselves and others like the fucking kings and queens that you are, because at the end of the day, you fucking matter. Thanks for sticking around.